that everybody is available. Everybody is here tonight. Thank you so much for joining us. As we do with all of our sessions that we have done so far this year, we are going to record this. We are going to post this. This is not going to be an hour-long session. This is a welcome to Fall Education Week. Welcome to Fall Education Week. It feels a lot like Summer Education Week. This doesn't feel much different than what it felt like the very first meeting that we had after the elections and we started club officer training. This feels very similar. I'm still sitting in my office, slightly perspiring because I need to turn the air conditioning back on. Feeling absolutely wonderful that there's a little breeze outside, beautiful weather, and some of my favorite people in the world doing one of the things that I love the most, and that is helping Toastmasters take the next step forward in their journey. So welcome. We are so glad everyone is here. A year ago, just over a year ago, we all met at Hall's Guest House in beautiful Fort Wayne, Indiana. Now, there are a couple things different this year compared to last year. I think we know the first one is that not all of us are completely dressed right now. A lot of us are only really dressed from the waist up. I'm not going to stand up to show you if I am one of those people or not. The second thing is that I am positive that it's warmer outside than it was last year. I remember walking into Hall's Guest House last year, needing to put on a sweater and a jacket to unload the car because I was freezing. If you were there last year, you know that our weather was not beautiful. And it feels like there's a third thing that's different this year, but what is it? I'm having trouble putting my finger on what that third thing might be that's just a little bit different this year compared to last year. Oh yeah, none of us are in the same room this year. We are doing this virtually. So this is our first kind of virtual conference-ish event that we've put on as a district. And I thank all of you for joining us tonight to another wonderful week of an opportunity to learn a little bit about Toastmasters, a little bit about leadership, and an opportunity to apply what we learn in here out there. Because as I've said for years, nobody joins Toastmasters to be a better Toastmaster. We all join to do something better in our lives. And this is another one of those opportunities for us to take that step. We have some dignitaries with us tonight. We have a former district director in Nancy Deeg. We have a former district director in Joseph Phillips. And we have a current district director in Gene Wolfe. I'd like to welcome all of you to Fall Education Week. And it wouldn't be one of those events that we start off with any differently than what we will normally do if we're in person. I would love to cede the floor to my friend and colleague, our current district director, Gene Wolfe, to give us some messages about whatever she wants to tell us tonight. So Gene, the floor is yours. Congratulations on your DTM. And congratulations on making it through almost the first 6 months of being a district director in a virtual world. Very nice job.
Thank you, Scott. It is great to see everyone here this evening. And yes, this year is a little bit different than last year. One of the things that I really have come to embrace is that this year is a year, and you may have heard me say this before, of let's give it a try. And here we are with this event, giving it a try. I encourage you as you listen in this evening to be great participants, to be great listeners, to take what you learn and give it a try. If you have an idea for this year, something that you've thought, I don't know, that's kind of risky. This is a year to take risks and give it a try. We are here to support you in your development and your learning and your trying. We are trying together, and I am delighted that we are trying this event all week long. Thank you, Scott. Back to you. Let's get started with the program.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Gene. All right, so let's go over kind of what is Fall Education Week. So by show of hands, how many of you were at Fall Education Day Fall Education Day last year in Fort Wayne, or maybe the year before in Evansville. So some of us kind of know what Fall Education Day was all about. It was 7 hours of very different programs that we offered. Some of them were traditional club officer training. Some of them were how to become a better leader. Some of them were how to become a better person. We had a bunch of different speakers that presented to us all in one location. There was sometimes good food, sometimes semi-good food. And we gathered together to laugh and to sing and to join and taking that next step forward on Toastmasters journey. Well, clearly we can't do that this year. We tried to do it once when we tried to do a live version of Toastmasters Leadership Institute, when we tried to do that back in August. We realized the night before we got ready to do TLI that we had 12 presenters and 7 participants. Now, I'm not great at math, but I'm pretty sure that to have a successful event, we need to have more people coming to the event than presenting at the event, which is why we decided to bail at the one in August and said it just wasn't worth everyone's time to come and not do an event that's worthwhile. So we didn't even try to do one for this fall. The other thing that happened over the past couple of months is Toastmasters came out with some directives that said, we would rather you not meet in person for district events. Well, it really wasn't, we'd rather you not meet in person. It was, please don't meet in person for district events. We want you to stay safe. We do not want to be spreading illness through our Toastmasters community. So please come up with some better ways to do this and do them online. That's why we're here for Toastmasters Week. Now, why do we decide to spread it out over an entire week? I think it's pretty simple, and it really comes down to one big question. How many of you want to be on a Zoom call for 6 hours in a row? Yeah, I've yet to come up with anybody that was like, oh, I want that. And if so, then I know that we just found the person that works for Zoom. Nobody wants to be on a Zoom call for 6 hours in a row. That's mean and cruel. And we like you people. We do not want to do that to anybody. We want to do something that's fun and engaging and invigorating. That's why we split it out over the course of a week. And we tried this concept back when we first did club officer training. If you remember back when we first rolled out all of our traditional club officer training back in August, every week, every night of the week, we had a different club officer training. Monday was president, Tuesday was VPE, Wednesday was VPM, so on and so forth. 7 straight weeknights, and everybody had to come to one a night for whatever office you held. And you got to come to one event, and you got credit for going to your club officer training, and you were done. And it seemed like that was a big hit. Am I right in still thinking that seemed like kind of a good way to do this thing, to spread it out over the course of a week? Thumbs up if you like the not having to do all of it in one time. Very good. We did the same thing this time with a twist though. And here's the twist. When we do the traditional club officer training, we just finished that 2 months ago. I'm pretty sure that nobody who just went through club officer training 2 months ago has forgotten what they heard 2 months ago. And you probably don't want to hear the exact same thing again 2 months later. Give me a thumbs up if you're on board that maybe different is good in this case. Absolutely. That was our thinking too. Different is good. So what we're doing this time around is we are offering a number. We have 9 different presentations this week, and all of them count towards your second round of club officer training. Meaning that if you come to Fall Education Week, you will have completed the requirements for the second term of your club officer training for the DCP goals. You don't have to do anything else. You will have done it. But this time we're not going to do just president's training and just VPE training and just secretary's training. We are going to offer those come January and February, but we're not going to do that right now. We're going to offer you a way to become a better officer. Let's face it, when we first became officers, how many of us really knew how to be an officer after we finished going to our first TLI? All we knew is what we didn't know. We knew enough to be dangerous, but we didn't know enough to really do a good job. We needed someone to help us learn how to become a little bit of a leader in the organization which we're in, to put context behind what we're doing. That's what we're doing this week. We're putting context behind Toastmasters. We're putting context behind all of the training to help you have a better grasp on what we're doing as club officers, what we're doing as members, what we're doing as district leaders. The goal is purely simple and pure at heart. We want you to have a better experience as a Toastmaster in 2020 and 2021. We want this to be a year that's transformational. We want this to be a year that's fun. We want to provide events that are helpful. Transformational, fun, and helpful is the core that runs through everything that we are trying to do this year. We think that we've been able to do that this week as well, to offer you some of those types of events for the week to help you become a little bit of a better club officer. Sound like a good plan? Does it sound like something that makes sense to why we did it this way? Very good. I'm seeing a bunch of head bobs. That is fantastic. So that's why we did this. Now, I know that I sent out a couple of emails that talked about the fact that if you come to Fall Education Week, one of the sessions of Fall Education Week, you also qualify to get those credits for DCP goals for club officer training. Everyone see those emails? Did anyone see that come around anywhere? Yeah? What do you think the #1 question was I got this week about Fall Education Week? Hey, Scott.
Will this count toward my DCP?
Thank you so much, Joe, for playing along. That is exactly the question I got. I stopped counting at 61 emails with that exact same question. Jean's like, ooh, I am glad I was not copied on them. I can forward them to you if you would like, Jean. They are entertaining. She's like, no, thank you. My goal is to be able to get this information out so that everyone knows. So I'm asking you, as a groundswell movement, as a grassroots campaign, when you're talking to members in your club, tell them, hey, guess what? If you come to Fall Education Week, your training's done for spring term. You don't have to come back and do anything else. But if you don't end up coming to one of the live sessions, what else can you do in order to get trained for club officer training? What did we do in the fall? Was there anything that we did in the fall that we may have done differently than previous years to help you get trained if you weren't able to come to a live session? Anyone remember what those things were?
Recorded it.
Recorded it, absolutely. Thank you, Stephanie. And then what happened after you watched the recording?
Roundtable discussion.
Perfect, absolutely. We went to roundtable discussions, and we did that purely because Toastmasters International said there needs to be a live component to the training. We're going to do the exact same thing this year. So we are recording these. All 9 sessions will be recorded, including plus this one. So 10 sessions will be recorded. They'll be posted on the Fall Education playlist that is available on our YouTube page for District 11. And you can go and watch those at your leisure if you can't make it to one of the sessions, if you can't make it to any of the sessions. And then in the spring, come January, which I know is really kind of weird to call spring, but come those times when we can't get out of our house because it's snowing and we're not raking leaves, but we are shoveling walks. During those times, we can grab a cup of hot cocoa, sit down, put our laptop on our laps, and listen to a fun education event, and then come to a laptop come January or February. That's how we can do all the makeups, exactly the same way we did this past time. So I ask you, please spread that information around to all of your members so that everyone knows exactly how we're doing this. Sound fair? Yeah? Very good. All right. So every night we have 2 sessions. We have 2 sessions tonight. The first 2 sessions tonight are Evaluate to Elevate, which one is the only one that I'm doing this week. But I'm doing an evaluation segment because I believe evaluations are the cornerstone of club culture. And then our second section tonight, who saw who the second speaker was tonight? It's been on Facebook. Anybody? Well, our second speaker tonight is going to be talking about leadership in 2020 and what Lisa learned from her toddler. what she learned from her toddler about leadership. Lisa Sobel-Burlow. Leadership 2020, what I learned from my toddler. If you've ever been around a toddler, you know that it has to be a funny presentation. Because let's face it, toddlers are the most adorable things in the world and also the most mind-numbing things in the world. So we are going to learn some lessons about leadership from toddlers tonight. And then over the next 4 nights, Tuesday, we have 2 sessions. Wednesday, we have 2 sessions. Thursday, Joe Phillips, who's speaking on Thursday? Do you know anybody who's doing a session on Thursday? Joe Phillips, do you have any idea who's doing a session on Thursday?
I do. Leadership Outreach Toastmasters is
Absolutely.
Leadership Outreach Toastmaster.
Leadership Outreach Toastmasters is doing a session on Thursday about how to do hybrid meetings. The only night we don't have 2 sessions is Friday nights. I did not think that there was going to be a huge outcry for people wanting to spend Friday at 8 p.m. in front of a laptop watching an education session. I have a feeling we probably all of other things we want to do with our lives on Fridays outside of Toastmasters. Am I right? Probably a good decision to not do one Friday night at 8? Yes. And she's like, thank goodness. Now, if we could do it live and have margaritas, that would be something different. But we can't do that. We have to all bring our own margaritas, and I'm not positive everyone would do that. So that's the week we're going to have this week. Every night, 7 p.m. Eastern time and 8 p.m. Eastern time. Those are Eastern times. We will be having an education session. Each one of them lasts for an hour. They are all different topics this week. We have everything ranging from lessons we learned from toddlers to evaluations to hybrid meetings to how to seize opportunities. We have a bunch of different speakers. We have some folks that are speaking tonight that normally are international speech competitors that aren't allowed to speak at the spring conference because they're trying to make their way to the international championship next year. But they're going to be speaking this week. Speakers like Sydney Blake, who is still the reigning District 11 international speech champion because we didn't have one last year. So he's had the longest reign of an international champion possibly ever in the district. 2 years in a row with 1 contest. That's pretty impressive if you ask me. So that's going to be the week this week. 7 o'clock and 8 o'clock every night, we gather here on the same channel and we listen to wonderful speeches by a plethora of speakers to help us become better Toastmasters. So that's a lot to take in. What questions do all of you have about what to expect this week, where to go this week, what we're covering this week, why we're doing it this week, how to get credit for DCP points this week, any of those things? What questions do you have? Kathy. Kathy.
Kathy, okay. Do you have to attend? I had some people at our club do. How many do you have to attend to get credit for the educational? Do you have to attend one every night or?
No, 1. It's the same way it would be if we were doing in person. You come to one of the sessions. If you were a club president, you would only come to the club president session to get credit. So we're not asking you to come to an entire week of them. We think that they're all very beneficial and helpful.
Okay.
But to get credit, just 1. Same way we would do if it was person, we were doing the traditional training.
And do they have to go? Do they have to go through Eventbrite? I mean, are you somebody just keeping track of who all's coming on the? How do we get?
It's a very good question. I was waiting for someone to ask that. So I wanted that to be a queued up question. So when we did club officer training, how did we keep track of who came to all of our trainings?
Chat.
Chat, absolutely. Guess what we're going to use this time?
Chat.
Chat. Yes. Why aren't we going to use Eventbrite? Why do you think Eventbrite might not be the best way to do it this time?
You can sign up for something in Eventbrite and not show up.
That's correct.
Absolutely. Because nobody in the history of events has ever signed up for an event and not shown up for it, then, right? Every event has 100% participation from all of their attendees. There's never been a no-show anywhere. So because of that reason, we know that stuff comes up in people's lives. You just forget to come, all of those things. Doug's like, I have gone to every event that I've ever signed up for. I do not believe you for 1 second, Douglas. I am sorry. I think that doing the chat is probably the most effective way to say who was actually there, and we'll be doing it the exact same way that we did in previous sessions, logging into the chat sessions. And because the first session is the only one that I'm doing, I'll be able to record names as we go through each one of those sessions and give credit to people. Just like we did last time. I have the spreadsheet set up a little bit more effectively this time, so that it'll be easier to just check off names instead of trying to type names in this time. But yes, use chat this time. So when you go into your meeting, what should you sign into? How should you put, what should you enter into chat? Anyone remember?
Club number and the position you hold.
Your name, your club
Name.
number, your club
Yeah.
name, and the role.
Right.
Your name, club number, and your role. Just those 4 things. Just those 4 things. Fantastic. Kathy, thanks for asking the perfect question to start us off with that. I appreciate that. Very nicely played.
No problem.
What else? What other questions do y'all have about Fall Education Week?
I have a question.
Gwendolyn, what do you have?
Is the Zoom link the same for all sessions this week?
Yes, it is absolutely the same for all sessions this week. If you've noticed, there's been a common theme that has run through all of our educational training all year. If you've noticed that we've used the exact same link for every club officer's training since we started. It's just like this one does, it is a non-time specific link so that we just start it whenever it goes. It's to keep it from being confusing so that nobody goes to the wrong meeting at the wrong time. Same links. I think it works out exceptionally well. So because we all have busy lives, and I know I lose emails like crazy. I drive Gene nuts with that, but it happens. All of us do the same thing. So one link, come to the same one every night, 7 p.m. Eastern, 8 p.m. Eastern, and there'll be folks here waiting for you. What else? So I'm surprised that nobody asked kind of the one other question that's out there. And you probably noticed that we don't have a specific keynote speaker for this week, that we didn't book a specific keynote for this week. And it started out not on purpose, but then as I started to think about it, it ended up becoming on purpose for one big reason. By the end of the week, after you've watched possibly 9 sessions, if you come to all the sessions, you watched all 9 sessions, who anticipates a little bit of Zoom burnout by the end, if you watch them all? Right? Wouldn't it be nice if we separated out the keynote to just be a one-off event so that we are not creating more Zoom burnouts, and you want to come and hear somebody different on a different week, like we've done in the past for all of the Great Education Week stuff that we did during the past spring? So in January, we are going to have a standalone one-off keynote, or 2 maybe, just to give us a little bit of extra quality as we head into the spring season, as we head into the next term, and as we kind of get back into it after the holiday season is over. So I wanted to separate it out because I really do think that if you put too many things in a row, at some point, it just becomes noise. That every speaker just blends into the previous night's speaker. And if you watch them all, my hope is that you'll watch them all, that I don't want to get anybody's Zoom burnouts, that you don't want to come back. I want this to be something that's fun and entertaining and you want to do on a regular basis. So that is why we have a couple of folks coming up in January I think are going to be incredibly fun for you to be able to listen to. And then we have a couple of folks coming back up in April as well for the spring conference, which we're not using the same philosophy of the spring conference because it's the spring conference and we have to give you a little bit of Zoom burnout for that. So, Gene, do you have anything else you would like to add before we adjourn this and get ready for our first session in about 34 minutes?
I think we're ready. Thanks, Scott.
Yeah, I think very nice. I think we are ready too. Anyone else have any last questions or comments or a juicy story you would like to start with? You would like to ask? And Lori, this was the kickoff. This was kind of like the opening ceremonies for fall education. This was not one of the sessions. This was just the opening ceremonies for. We start the first session at 7 p.m. Eastern time. All right. If nobody else has any other questions, I'm going to hit stop record so that this one will be done. I thank you so much for coming to the kickoff tonight.